Wake up, Washington Commanders Nation. It's not even 8:30 a.m. and we already got news. It is now Black Monday and news that should be shocking or surprising to nobody. Washington has fired Ron Rivera. They have relieved Ron Rivera of his duties as the head coach, de facto team president of football operations for the Washington Commanders. And what's even more jarring is we just randomly found out leading the search for Washington's president of football operations is no other than Bob Meyers, former two-time NBA Executive of the Year, the guy who helped craft and build the dynasty of the Golden State Warriors. He will be helping Josh Harris. Him and Rick Spielman will be spearheading Washington's search for president of football operations as they flesh out their new front office. And Marty Herney and Martin Mayhew, it appears that they're going to remain on staff until that search takes place. Don't get discouraged by that. I think they're out of here as well. But Ron Rivera, let's not bury the lead here. We're going to get to Rick Spielman and Bob Meyers in a second, which is huge. And that was reported by Adrian Wojnarowski, the guy who drops the bombs for the NBA. I already told you when it came down to Ron, we would find out from Adam Schefter first. They would have it before anybody locally has it. But Ron Rivera, I want to thank him for his endeavors in his time here. I want to thank him for his efforts. Ronald Eugene Rivera is the poster child for this expression, two things can be true. Because Ron Rivera is a world-class human being. Excellent guy. You can see why guys across the league gravitate to his presence. He's a very likable guy. He's like a grandparent or like an uncle, like a patriarch of a family. Everybody respects the guy. But at the same time, as a football coach and as an evaluator of talent, he was not very good, or at least as a head coach. Let me specify, as a head coach. While he was an assistant in the league, he was one of the top defensive coaches in the league. And that's how he ended up getting a head coaching job. He developed Jeremiah Trotter. He developed linebackers. He made one of the best units in the league in Chicago when they appeared in the Super Bowl. Then he took a Carolina job where he inherited the number one pick in the draft. He drafted a freak of nature alien quarterback and proceeded to lean on his talent for the next 10 years. And while they did appear in a Super Bowl and they had a 15-1 season, the majority of Ron's tenure was mid. The majority of Ron's career as a head coach is mid or less. He leaves Washington with a 26-40-1 record, 26 wins, 40 losses, 1 tie. He finishes his career as a head coach because I believe he's done. I don't see him getting any more work as a head coach in the National Football League. Finishes his career 102 wins, 103 losses, 2 ties. Let's say that one more time. 102 wins, 103 losses, 2 ties. So Ron needed a win yesterday to get to 500 in his career. That is the epitome of mid. When you look up mid in the dictionary, it'll be a picture of Ron Rivera's career. But Ron came and inherited a 3-win team here in Washington at a time where we needed an adult in the room. He was hired following Jay Gruden's tenure. Jay Gruden was the guy that felt more like a peer to the players he was coaching than an authoritative figure. They called practice at Ashburn Club J. We've seen the video multiple times of Jay pinching Deshaun Jackson's nipple, and we've heard the rumors about Jay Gruden with Capri Bibbs and company. We needed an adult in the room. Especially with the world changing and the shift into the rebrand and moving past our old moniker, we needed an adult to come here. And we gave Ronald Rivera the ultimate sombrero, the ultimate hat to run the entire organization, to have his fingerprints on things he was not necessarily qualified to be running here in DC. And he did his best. He tried his best. He did his damn, like, I'm not sure many coaches that would have lasted 4 years, especially under the trigger finger of Daniel Snyder. We went through a name change. The guy fought through cancer, and he had to answer for 2 decades of ineptitude, scandal, and a shit show environment. So he took an impossible job, if we're keeping it a buck. And he's going to end up being the sacrificial lamb of new beginnings for Washington football. You already know. But Black Monday has been commenced. It started about 2 minutes after midnight last night. Arthur Smith was fired right after midnight. As soon as the clock struck Black Monday, Arthur Smith, with his Neanderthal Nicolas Cage head ass, got fired at midnight. It opened up this morning with the Carolina Panthers, Ron's old stomping ground, firing GM Scott Fitterer, and Washington firing Ron Rivera first thing in the morning. Team exit meetings start at 9 a.m. Ron was there bright and fucking early. And I'm not trying to sit here and celebrate a man's firing, but y'all know how sports fandom works. Fan is short for fanatic for a reason, and when you are a fan of sport, things like this become a celebration, because Ron's firing is about more than the exit of a head coach. It is about an exit from the last 24 years. Ron is the final remnant of the Daniel Snyder tenure of ownership of the Redskins football team Commanders. He's Dan Snyder's final hire. We are now getting a blank slate, a clean slate, to break free from the shackles that was that dictator Napoleon Bonaparte motherfucker known as Dan Snyder. We are finally going to be able to start over and build this organization into a sustainable winner again. Josh T, what up, my boy? Appreciate you. It's up, new beginnings. Shout out to Josh for getting Ron's key card early. Make sure he passes EB and hands him one on the way out. Tell EB there's quite a few moving companies that will be gladly have him join Ron in the assembly line. Appreciate you for the donation, my boy. If you're in the chat right now, smash that like button. It is a new day in DC. Queen Sheen, how we doing this morning? How we doing this morning, family? How we doing this morning, family? The boomer is gone. Okay. When it comes to the new search, all I ask for is we don't make it another boomer fest here. Let's get some forward thinkers to usher in this new generation of Washington football. Let's get some free things. Y'all told me we hired Eugene Shin for a reason. Analytics, it does not show that we should go hire a boomer. But if it's a guy like Harbaugh, I'd get it. But it's clear we're going straight for the gusto. We're going for president of football operations. I think it's going to be Ravens director of player personnel, Joe Ortiz, but it could go a litany of ways. And I think once we do hire the president of football ops, they're going to hire a GM and they're going to build out their own front office over here in DC. Huge news that came out of nowhere is that Rick Spielman, former NFL GM, and Bob Meyers are spearheading this president search for Josh Harris and company. That caught me completely off guard. I was not ready for that. That kind of had me shook. And I'm looking at a statement from Bob Meyers posted by Ian Rappaport. And Bob Meyers' words verbatim: I have been fortunate to know Josh Harris for many years, and his commitment to building championship caliber teams is what drew me here. In my experience, championship infrastructure begins with a strong ownership group that prioritizes culture and invests in attracting the industry's most talented and innovative leaders. In speaking with Josh and his team, it's clear They will do everything it takes to build out a world-class organization, one that can win on the field and make a positive mark in the DMV community. This is the type of opportunity that really inspires me, and I look forward to contributing to the next chapter of this storied franchise. This is crazy. This is so cool. Bob Meyers helped construct the Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green dynasty warriors. You literally cannot find a better person to help spearhead this president search for the team. And what it does also is it tells me we're not doing the coach centric model here again. We're going to have a fleshed out front office making decisions and overseeing the coach that they hire, because we don't, I'm sorry, it only works for certain places. The whole head coach runs the whole operation thing. And you see how that turns out for even the best. Look at Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time. Look how things are ending up panning out for our guy. GOAT, but as soon as the GOAT quarterback left, it was smooth sailings for, it was smooth. Like it's been all bad for Bill Belichick ever since. No more coach-centric model here in DC. It's a celebration. Imagine this. 2023 till now, we got rid of Dan Snyder. And now we get to start over completely. And on Ron's way out, he blessed us. He blessed us on his birthday, his 62nd birthday. Ron blessed us with the second overall pick in the NFL draft. So not only do we get to start over with a brand new shiny front office, new ownership, $100 million plus of cap space to spend, but we have the second overall pick in the NFL draft to draft the franchise quarterback of the future for the team. So don't ever say Ron never did anything for us. Ron blessed us on the way out. And for that, I will always appreciate Ron Rivera for how 2023 played out for this team. He is sending us off with a dub, and we appreciate that. I appreciate you for trying your best, Ronald Eugene. But I'm not going to lie. It's going to be so refreshing to not see Ron in front of the podium. To not see Ron have to walk back and detract statements every other day, because despite the fact that he was a 13-year veteran of a coach, he has a gaffe in the media once a week. I will not miss that. I will not miss being loyal to the detriment of the team, to your people, to your staff, and to your roster. I will not miss scouting guys with military family backgrounds instead of blue chip talent. I will not miss the draft misses that took place over the last couple years. The Fedarian Mathises, the Emmanuel Forbes. After 2 years, the Jahan Dotsons of the world. The whole 2023 draft class minus Quan Martin and maybe KJ Henry. I will not miss those things. I will not miss the stoic, arms crossed demeanor on the sidelines every week for 4 years. The emotionless. I will not miss delegating halftime speeches to players because you don't even know how to address your own team in the halftime of a shit show primetime game in which you're losing by 3 touchdowns to a team that had not won in 365 calendar days. I will not miss that. I will not miss any of this, man. I promise you, I will not miss any of it. But I do appreciate that he tried his best. Oh, I will not miss Ron Rivera hiring golf buddies instead of qualified candidates to fill out his coaching staff and to fill out his front office. We hired the guy who was general manager of the 0-16 Detroit Lions, the worst team in NFL history, to be the GM. And he hired Marty Hurney because he knew him from his time in Carolina. And he hired the son of Norv Turner to be our offensive coordinator instead of Kevin O'Connell, who looks to be one of the best offensive minds in the game and one of the better coaches in the NFL right now. Salute to Eugene. Salute to y'all in the chat right now. We got 393 in the chat. It's 8:30 a.m. It's Monday. It's Black Monday. And it is the first day of the rest of our lives as Washington fans. Oh, don't get me started on this guy. Ron was supposed to pick him. So I'm not too upset about this. I'm more upset with the player than the selection. Super bust. He made the Pro Bowl. He made the Pro Bowl this year by sheer name recognition and fans putting him in. Nothing about Chase Young's season spells Pro Bowl. Yes, I do want Caleb Williams, but we will have options, and I do like Drake May and Jaden Daniels as well. All I know for certainty is we're taking a quarterback in the first round. He's from DC. He's like getting RG3. That's why I love. Dan screwed him over. Dan screwed everybody over. And Ron, unfortunately, is the sacrificial lamb of the Dan Snyder tenure in DC. Ron had to go out and fail for us to get to where we are today on January 8th, 2024. If you follow this channel, I told y'all the second that the sale got approved to Josh Harris, it did not matter how this next season played out. Ron Rivera will not be retained, and he will not be a part of the future here in DC because it's the same story, rinse, wash, repeat when an owner buys the team. Ron has literally lived this whole scenario out twice. He has to be the only coach in the history of football, possibly sports, that has had this exact scenario happen in multiple locations. Because when Dave Tepper purchased the Carolina Panthers, this happened to Ron Rivera. Now he gets to happen twice. It happens with Josh Harris and the Commanders. Ron Rivera seen this whole thing play out 2 times. I think he's going to be on the golf course, retired and well. He has 1 more year under contract, so they get to write him another $7 million check. He gets to fade to the sunset with his beautiful family and his dog and live his life on the golf course. He can get a job in media. He can do whatever he wants because Ron Rivera is a darling of the NFL community. They love him. He's a pillar. He's a beacon of it. World-class human being. Love the man, Ron Rivera. Rio woke up chasing Vaughn. I know, bro. I was waiting. I had an alarm set this morning. I was ready. I was ready for it. But I want to keep it balanced. I'm trying to keep it impartial because I like Ron Rivera, the person. I've met Ron Rivera multiple times. Ron Rivera is cool as shit. Ron Rivera is an amazing human. Everybody can use an uncle like Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera don't need to be head coaching nobody's football team, though. Let's call it what it is. And he damn sure don't need to be anybody's evaluator of talent and draft pick selector. He don't need to be doing that. Appreciate you for the $2 super, my guy. Caleb, Chicago can't afford to pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. Chicago's in a spot where they can do anything they want to. I think they kind of have to draft Caleb Williams, but who am I? We'll see. We're drafting Bob Meyers. Yes, Bob Meyers of the Golden State Warriors dynasty is helping Bob Meyers and Rick Spielman, former NFL GM. And I think it was Rick Snyder that was on this a while ago. He had mentioned Rick Spielman was an advisor to Josh Harris and company. They mentioned that quite some time ago. But we have now made it. It is Black Monday, and we're here. We're here. We're here, and this is the first day of the rest of our lives as Washington fans. We're going for president of football operations to oversee a GM and then hire a head coach. And according to Michael Phillips, formerly of the Richmond Times-Dispatch, we're going to be interviewing both positions at the same time. We're going to be doing the front office search while we do the head coaching search at the same time. The dates for interviews are a little all over the place, but if I'm correct, you cannot get an in-person interview with a coach that is currently on a playoff team until the 21st or the 22nd of January. But you can immediately start interviewing front office candidates. It's fair game to start interviewing guys today. So if we want a Joe Ortiz, if we want a Alec Halaby, Ian Cunningham, anybody, we can start doing that today. And I think by end of week, we will already know about interviews. I think they've had a full season to sit back on this. I don't think it's hyperbole to say Washington will be the first front office spot filled this offseason. Josh Harris, Mitchell Rales, and company, they have been sitting on this information all year. They've been known. They've been known that we were going to fill these positions. They have to have a short list ready to go for president and GM. And if you know how business works, you know how under the table deals work. There could literally be a silent person in waiting already calling shots here. There could already be candidates that have had their say in how this season played out. There could be a mystery front office person who was pulling the strings on the Montez Sweat in the Chase Young trades, who have already been in communication with Eugene Shinn. We know tampering exists. Tampering is a thing. It is a tool utilized by everybody in everything. And it's all a matter of if you get caught doing the shit or not. That's how this works. Every business deal has been discussed multiple times over. Agents meet with owners, friends of a friend, networks. It's a relationships business. So if you got a friend that knows a candidate for GM or president, I guarantee they've already been in direct conversation with Josh Harris and company. So we should already know what's going down in this next week. And Josh Harris was working the room like a politician at the NFL meetings accelerator program for incoming general managers and company. They have to know who we're hiring already. I'll say by the 15th or 16th of January, we will already have a front office hire or two on the table. And then we could turn the rest of our attention to who the head coach of the team is going to be. I will give Josh Harris and company the benefit of the doubt, even if I do not like the hire. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. And I've been on record to say the only hires I would hate is Bill Belichick at age 72 and Eric Bieniemy, or keeping Marty Hurney, Eric Stokes, and Martin Mayhew as front office members. Would hate it, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt until proven incorrectly, because this is their first offseason putting their stamp on the franchise. This was the evaluation season. Throw that away. And at least in the evaluation season, in which we won one home game of the 8 that we played, you can call it what you like. Selling out every home game this season is a big deal. And I know what the common retort to that will be. Well, a sellout don't matter if it's the opposing team's fans. It does matter. Put it like this. If I throw a soiree, an extravaganza of sorts, and I'm charging price of admission for tickets, I do not give a damn who's attending that motherfucker as long as the venue gets filled up. So if that party is full of my ops, it's still full. The ticket's still sold and the price of the brick is gone up. In the words of Stringer Bell, tell the streets that we're back up. We are back up here in Washington, moving forward. And this is the way it had to be done. I did not want to celebrate necessarily a good man's downfall, but it is what it is at this point. It is what it is. This is what had to be done, y'all, to move forward to the future, to usher in a successful next tenure. I believe Mayhew is gone as well. Is Mayhew gone? I'm waiting for updates. I'm reading as we're going live right now. And if you have any background or connections about Rick Spielman, former Vikings GM, I'd love to know as well. We're moving forward, y'all. Smash that like button. We got 525 in the This is how passionate and crazy this fan base is. It is 8:55 on a Monday morning, and we're in here deep. Like our season didn't just finish yesterday, because our season didn't finish yesterday. Our season just begun. This is the season. This is the season. And I'm excited. We're off and running, and we're on to build something new. I'm very excited about Bob Meyers being a part of this, because Bob Meyers is as successful as it comes. He's a forward thinker, analytics, all of that. I'm not going to get into candidates today, but tomorrow, Wednesday, all week, we're going to get into top 5 GM candidates, top 5 head coaching candidates. We're on to the off season, baby. It is off season. Get your mock drafts out and ready. And while the NFL postseason starts next week, the NFL offseason begins, and an exciting one is on the way for our Washington Commanders. Ron Rivera, year one, came in. We backed into a Mickey Mouse division title. We backed into it. What's going on, Sven? We backed into a Mickey Mouse division title at 7-9, and we gave the soon-to-be Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers all they had. We gave them a run for their money with a journeyman quarterback that was on the couch a couple weeks prior to. Year 2, 7-win season after signing Ryan Fitzpatrick to be the guy here. So year 1 was the Dwayne Haskins experiment, which was transitioned into Kyle Allen, which turned into Taylor Heineke. Year 2, Ryan Fitzpatrick was signed to be the savior here. Journeyman, 40-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick, who played and lasted all of one quarter of football for the Commanders, and we went through a season of Taylor Heineke, another 7-win season. 7 is the recurring theme for Ron Rivera's career, because it's the number he's usually at. He only won more than 7 games 4 times in a 13-year career. Hurney and Mayhew are definitely gone. They're out of here. Like, everybody's gone. This is a full-on cleansing. This is a complete blank slate. Year 3, we traded for Carson Wentz. We traded draft capital for a nigga that we knew was going to be available on the open market, because the Colts were definitely going to cut him. And then Ron beat his chest and said, I watched the tape. I synced the film. I synced that shit. And that's my guy. Before immediately seeing that it wasn't going to work, throwing him under the bus, going back to Taylor Heineke for another Mickey Mouse run at an attempted playoff trip. And then we eventually saw Sam Howell, a guy that we ended up taking in the 5th round, get his first start. And then Ron's final year here, he told us all year, I got the quarterback of the future. I found the future. If this team goes on to win without me, send me my ring. And then proceeded to go 4-13 in his final year in DC. So he inherited a 3-win team and departed them a 4-win team. Life comes at you fast in the NFL. Life comes at you fast, and nothing is faster than an NFL season. Especially an NFL season where you know none of the guys that are running the show will be a part of the show going forward, 2024 and beyond. We won our first 2 games of the season, started off 2-0. We won our first home game of the season, week 1, and did not win another home game for the rest of the season. It be like that. It had to happen. It had to happen. What Washington needs is a bona fide quarterback. And outside of Penix Jr. and Nix, nobody there who can throw and lead. Williams is not a leader. Bo Nix is 1,000 years old. Michael Penix is 1,000 years old. Oh, he's great, though. Michael Penix is a really good quarterback. He's also 1,000 years old and has multiple injuries. I think Caleb Williams and Drake May, that's the conversation we're having here. Send me my ring, though, says Ron Rivera of the 4-13 Washington Commanders. Send me my ring, y'all. Send me my ring. I've been waiting for this video since the Thanksgiving game. Bro, this Ron Rivera news hitting like crack in the 80s right now. We're lit on a Monday morning. We've been patiently waiting this notification for so long. I've been waiting for it all year because I told you they could go 10-7 and make the playoffs, and this was still going to be the case as soon as the season ended because Ron was never a part of the future here. 0-6 in the division is nasty work. Losing 13 of your last 15 and losing 8 in a row to close the season is the most Washington shit I can remember. I love Jaden Daniels. I really like Jaden Daniels. And his legs offer a weapon that nobody else has in this draft, a game-breaking ability to do some Lamar Jackson type shit. But I want to watch some more Jaden Daniels. I definitely got to watch some more Jaden Daniels. Smash that like button. We over 600 in the chat right now. We're all a sick group. Everybody here, we're a sick group. We're obsessed. We have the sickness. We have the Washington Ashburn syndrome sickness. This team got us in a chokehold. We on a Monday morning. Most of us are probably at work right now celebrating the start of the NFL offseason. We're a sick group, man. We're a sick group. What's wrong with Julius 24? 24 with the ACL tear twice and a shoulder injury is like 34. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, especially in the first round. I could not do it. What's going on, man? How we doing today? Charles, what's going on, man? It's time. It's exciting. Oh, and for those out there that keep saying, I don't know why y'all are excited. What are y'all so excited for? Because we get a fresh start. What's more exciting than a fresh start? What's more exciting than a rebuild that is not ran with Dan Snyder at the other end of the puppet strings? My guy, 50 Gut Blog, my guy Paul tweeted something yesterday. Can you imagine how royally Dan Snyder would fuck up this bag we got coming this offseason? Could you imagine Dan Snyder with the second overall pick, $100 million in cap room? Can y'all imagine how badly he would fuck this situation up? It would be complete nasty work. We would sign every free agent, regardless of if they fit the team or not, because that's what Washington has done the majority of my life. The problem was never that Washington spent too much money and tried to be off-season champs. The problem was that the players we signed did not fit what we did. We just signed people for the fuck of signing people. Fire up Redskins 1, get the jet going. And as a Washington fan that did not see a lot of success here, those days were fun. There was nothing more fun. There was nothing more thrilling than seeing Dan Snyder fire up the jet to host incoming free agents. The problem was the free agents did not exactly fit the plans of the coaches that we had here. They were pretty much saying, we're gonna sign this expensive guy and you need to make it work. Not let's throw the bag at people that fit what we're doing here. We sign guys that play, we sign man corners and tell them to play zone. We sign zone corners and tell them to play man. We gave $100 million to a nose tackle. We gave the bag to Adam Archuleta. The free agent signings of Washington's past will haunt us forever, but it is a new. Appreciate you for the donation, community care. The season just started and the future looks bright. New ownerships are taking rational moves and spending it back. We're about to get a real franchise QB. Exactly, man. It's a good day to be a Washington fan. Free at last. God Almighty, we're free at last, Josh. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Free at goddamn last. Remember Dana Stubblefield? Oh, my God. I can remember some of the names of this Washington Trung candidate. Man, we went through some times here in D.C. 36 starting quarterbacks in the last 25 years. 36. Just to put this in the proper perspective, the Packers in the last 30 years have went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to now Jordan Love, who looks special and scored 36 total touchdowns in his first year as a starter. Let me say that again. The Packers have went from Favre to Rodgers to another special quarterback, Jordan Love. That's 3 people. We play 3 quarterbacks a year. These niggas have had 3 in 30 years. Let that sink in to what it's like being a Washington fan. The Packers, I never want to hear their fans if they're miserable about anything. Y'all are not allowed to feel my plight. Y'all are not allowed to be complaining about anything. We play 3 quarterbacks a year. Y'all have had 3 quarterbacks in your existence for the last 30 years. I'm 32. I've known the Packers to have 3 quarterbacks in my lifetime, bro. We play 3 quarterbacks a year. Hell no, EB has not earned a shot at being a coach. EB should not be an offensive coordinator that calls plays going forward. Hell no. Antoine Randall L., the GOAT. You know what's crazy? If we hired Ben Johnson from the Lions to be the head coach, I think he'd be bringing Mark Brunell and Antoine Randall L. with him, because that's the quarterback and the receiver coach for the Detroit Lions. They got a whole bushel of former NFL players. Imagine that. We bring in Ben Johnson and he brings Mark Brunell and Antoine Randall L. back to DC. Pull those Randall L. jerseys back out, y'all. Watching Randall L. return punts used to be one of the more miserable experiences. Darius Geis. EB is garbage, bro. I'm sorry. I like EB as a person. I wanted EB to be him. EB's not him, bro. EB's not him. I know this is huge. This came out of nowhere. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting them to do this, man. Who's next on the chopping block? They should have been fired as a group. I mean, I guess they're just doing the professional thing and letting the new coach and the new president fire the rest of the guys and bring their staff in. So I'm assuming how this is going to play out. They're going to hire someone to run the entire football operation. He will then hire general manager and fill out all the roles in the front office, and then they're going to hire a head coach. And that head coach, the professional way, I believe, is he's going to interview the guys currently on staff, keep what he'd like to, and hire his own staff. Because it's going to be a lot of guys out of here. Don't expect any of these guys to keep their job just because they're not immediately fired. Scott Turner did better with Taylor Heineke, man. Y'all see who you know? No, that's not who our new GM is. He's helping us hire. He's helping us in our search for our president. Okay, let's get this out and clear and concise right now, y'all. We did not hire Rick Spielman and Bob Meyers to be our GM and president of football. They have been hired to advise, consult, and help Josh Harris find his president and help find his GM of the Washington Commanders. They have not been hired to run the team from those positions. They are paid advisors. That's the case with those guys. So don't get it twisted, y'all. Don't get it twisted. It is truly a new day. It is truly a new day in DC, and we've been waiting on this day for quite some time. We all knew it was coming. Mike McDonald, it could be my preference is a head coach whose age starts with the number 3, because I want us to move in. And I honestly want a coach that has not been a head coach before. I want someone getting their first opportunity to be a head coach. No more retreads. Let's roll into this era, new, fresh, and let's roll into the modern age of football, baby. Reading comprehension is being exposed today with the Meyers and Spielman. I know people think that he's the GM, but I'm just trying to clear it up for everybody, you know? I don't know if I say he was the worst because Jim Zorn was a person. Jim Zorn didn't even know the correct colors of the team. Jim Zorn ran the swinging gate play. What do you call us, maroon and yellow? There have been days, but hey, we're moving on. We're moving on to the future. That's all I got for right now. It is a new day in DC. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're waiting. What's going on, Juan Gotti? I see you in the chat. Let's move on to the future. Let's move on to new beginnings, and I'm waiting for these GM and front office things to start rolling in. I'm ready to hear us start interviewing some guys as we move on to the future. January 8th, 2024. Circle it on your calendars. It is a holiday for Washington Commanders Nation. Thank y'all for pulling up in the chat. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, and let's make some hirings. Let's make a splash, and let's build. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Rio, out.